Welcome to the Middleware Tech YouTube channel. In this series, you'll learn Web Service Basic Lab. All code examples used in the videos will be available on GitHub. Let's get started.
Fine. So how we'll do it, right? So let's understand a simple example, then we'll move with some more technicalities on this. Fine. Okay. So I'm just writing the steps how you can implement EMI calculation in web service. First, we'll use, as I told you, that for web service communication, we will use Eclipse web service setup. So in the web service setup, I want everyone else to execute the basic labs, since we are following step by steps, and we'll go to the advanced side how we are doing in the production environment. But step by steps we'll move there. Web service setup, we need one IDE. So that IDE that I'm going to use here, the IDE is this one. I'm going to use this IDE here. So that's it. I'm just using this ID, and then we can execute this web service for the time being, whatever I'm going to do now. Fine. Okay. So what we'll do using ID first we'll create dynamic web project step 1, right? Then step 2, what we'll do, we'll create a Java class, right? Then step 3, what we'll do, in the step 3, what we'll do now, the thing is that in web service communication, if you remember, you're talking about web service communication is service provider and service consumer, right? We are talking about server side, that is service provider, so we are talking about server side point of view, service provider or server side. Now fine. Okay. So to get dynamic web project, create Java class. So if you have a Java class, then I have to create a web service from the Java class. Create web service from Java class. Done. Then step 4, deploy the web service in the server. Deploy web service inside server. Deploy web service inside server, right? Then number 5, then test web service, right? So to test, so these are the things that you have to do. So we are talking about web service basics. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a simple web service, and in that simple web service, these are some of the steps that I'm going to follow now to create a simple web service. So I want everyone to execute in their system, right? Okay. So let's do it one by one. Fine. So let me create one web service. Right click, new. Now I'm just following these steps that I have just written here. Service, how it will work, right? So create dynamic web project. So let's create dynamic web project. Right click, new, others, and go to web. And go to web and select dynamic web project. Move next and select your project name as EMI calculation demo 1, right? EMI calculation demo 1. So this is, I'm using that Tomcat server here. Fine, move next. next, and if you want to select is fine. So I'm just creating a dynamic web project. If you see here, we've created one dynamic web project, and in this example, just if you see, it's creating a dynamic web project. Dynamic web project name is EMI calculation demo 1. So it's taking some time. Click yes. Okay, this is my project, right? So it's a web project as you create in Eclipse. You'll find JAX WSKM. Don't think about it. I'm coming one by one. I'm coming one by one so that everything will be covered at the end of the day. So let me. So this is simple web project, right? Okay, project. Now we have to create a simple Java class. So create one Java class. Go to Java resource, SRC folder, right click, new class, and select one package. And inside this package, you can create the Java class like calculate EMI. Assume calculate EMI is Java class or calculator is the class name. Fine, right? In the MM package, fine, done. So Java class is done. Now I should write one EMI calculator method, right? We should write one EMI calculator method inside this. So either you can write it or let me copy paste from somewhere. Let me copy paste from some other location. That method only. I'm not going to write that method. Once again, Control V. This is my method. So what this method is doing, it is taking the principal, P for principal, total amount, double R for rate of interest, and T for how long months you are going to take that amount. So this will calculate the EMI, and that EMI you have to pay for every month for a particular loan from the bank, right? So it's a simple Java class. I'm not going to do anything. The logic is already written, right? And it calculates the EMI and return you. And it has some function in Java only. The logic is written, right? Okay, fine. So the second task is done. This two is done, right? Third one, we have to create a web service from the Java class. Fine. So how to create a web service? Very easy. Just select this calculator.java others. Select calculator.java, right click, new, others. When it comes to others and under web service, you'll find here web service. Under here, this you'll find web service. I'm going to create a web service. Fine. Okay, move next. And you'll can find lots of things here. Bottom up is there, top down is there. So there, when you create a particular web service, there is two approach how we can create a web service. One approach is from the Java class that I can create a web service that I'm doing now. Another approach is that from WSDL file I can create a web service. That is called top-down approach. So creating a web service from Java class, it is called bottom-up approach. If I'm creating a web service from WSDL file, that is called top-down approach. We'll talk about top-down approach after some time, but now I'm talking about bottom-up approach. So bottom-up approach. So let me write, I think better everything. So there is two approach how we can create a web service. Web service creation. Fine. Okay, now there is two approach. One is bottom-up approach, another is top-down approach. Creation process. So in case of bottom-up approach, what we'll do, we'll create the web service, create web service from Java class. And in case of top-down approach, create service from WSDL. That second approach we'll talk about after some time, but for now the example that I'm doing, that is bottom-up approach. Fine. So this two is done. Now we should provide the Tomcat server, and web service client is proxy. I'm coming into this. Just wait after some time coming. Lots of things you'll find here. Just move next. I'll discuss all the things one by one, and move next, finished. And if you're giving and starting the server, then you can start the server. Move next. Don't have to select them. This is nothing but registry implementation, not required for the timing. Finished. So if you move like this, so you'll find here lots of extra file is created in the project. See here, WSDL is created. Then server config.wsdd file is created, right? Then you'll find here some extra file inside package deploy.wsdd, right? Some of the jar files, extra jar files created here. See, so whatever the task you have just now done, lots of extra files is created here, right? In the project. Fine, will come, all those things will come one by one. So web service is created. How to understand web service is created or not? Because if the web service created, then I can access with the help of WSDL file. If the web service created, then I can access with the help of WSDL file. How to understand WSDL file, web service created or not, right? So what you have to do is that we have to go inside WSDL file, and in the WSDL file you'll find lots of element, and at the down you have to find one of the element is that WSDL service. To come inside that element, and you have to copy that location value. Control C, and that one you have to check using a browser whether it is available or not. Control V, question mark WSDL. So just to check the WSDL file, I have to select this. So if you see here, it is working fine. It is coming, right? So I can see the WSDL file. I can access the WSDL file that is deployed in the server, right? So I can access. That means the web service is created and deployed in the server. Once again, redeploy. It's fine. You can select this project, right click, run as, run on server. You can deploy it inside the server. This is our project, EMI calculator demo 1. Finished. Restart the server. So it is working fine. It is deployed. If you want, you can just deploy it like this. How to deploy it is deployed or not. To check it, you just have to write that URL question mark. Yes. Fine. Here lots of things is there. I'm coming one by one. Next, so this 4 step is done. Now I want to test this web service whether it is running or not, right? So there is multiple testing tool is there to test an web service. So I want to use that the tool that is used a lot. The name of the tool is SOAP-UI. This is the tool that we'll use. Control C, test web service. Control V, right? So once it is downloaded, then you have to install it. Just move next. Not no such complex setup. Just move next. It will be installed in your system, right? So once it is installed in your system, once it is installed in your system, what you have to do is what you have to do is that this SOAP, I can test the web service using the SOAP UI, right? So in my system already is installed. Now we want to test it. So test web service means the service is deployed in the Tomcat server, right? It is fine. The service is deployed in the Tomcat server. Now I want to test the web service. So what I have to do, just open SOAP UI. It is installed in my system already. Just what is the advantage? I want to test this web service, right? So since you want to test it, so go to SOAP in the tab, create a new SOAP project. Project name right here, demo, just a name. Paste that URL. You have to paste that WSDL URL, right? This one. Complete WSDL path you have to paste. Control C, copy, paste that WSDL path and click OK. So you find in the left side, it's creating one project, right? It's created on project in the left side. It's created on project, right? Right? What type of project? SOAP project, because I have selected that project from here. So from the SOAP UI, not only you can test a SOAP project, but also you can test a REST project also. REST project we'll talk about later. Now I am going to test it, the SOAP project. So right. Okay. So when you see this calculator EMI, if you move down, this is the request one, right? So just double click here. Now if you double click here, you can see in the left side the complete SOAP message is visible in front of you. Just see here, SOAP. The SOAP envelope is the root element. Inside SOAP envelope you have a header. Header is an optional, and body is the SOAP body. So this SOAP body is nothing but mandatory, and inside that you have three elements: P for principal, R for interest rate, and T for time. So all are double value, right? So you have to initialize some value. So P for principal. So what I want is that I want to take a car loan. So if you want to take a car loan, then the principal amount, assume principal amount is 7 lakh. And it's a double value. Done. Now rate of interest, how much rate of interest you have to give for your car loan? Assume it is 10%. Assume double value, right? And for how for 5 months I want to, for 5 years I want to take that loan. So if I want to take 5 years, then 5 years means 60 months, then 60 double value, right? So how much EMI I have to pay for this amount, right? So just answer. Now you can see it's returning the EMI, month EMI. You have to pay 5,848, right? So this is a SOAP request. And when I send that request, it is a SOAP response. See here, SOAP response. Now the SOAP request, when I send, a server is sending a SOAP response. Correct? Okay. Right. So for your request, you will get a response. Right. Now let me check. Let's stop the server. Okay. Let's stop the server, whether it is working or not. This is a Tomcat server is running, right? So let's stop the server. Going to stop the server. Stop. Let me check it's working or not. Server is down. Now once again I'm going to send a SOAP request for this much of amount. I'm going to send a SOAP request. See, there is no return type on the other side. No return type because server is down. Server is down, no return type, right? So if you stop the server, then the SOAP request has gone to the server, but since the server is down, it's not going to send any response, right? So if you're going to say, once again, start the server, when you start the server, now server is running, right? And if you're going to test it, and you get the corresponding response, right? Okay. So if you see this example, this is a very simple example. Now lots of things happened in between. I'm coming all the things one by one. It's a simple example. So we have done this example just to understand the test that yes, how a web service work and how we can create a simple web service and how we can test a simple web service, right? This one. So this is a very simple example. So what I want is that should be executed by everyone. Now here lots of things is there. I'm coming on all the technicalities. I'll come on to this. So I'll suggest everyone please complete this and check it is working in any. We have done this basic setup, and this is an examples of, you can say, one hello world type example how EMI calculation web service work. Now in web service communication, I've given you one example. I've told you that web service communication is always a communication between requester and provider, or sometimes you use the term client server, or sometimes you use the term consumer provider. So this is the term that we used on web service communication. Particular web service when he will get the WSDL file. So in this example, whatever we have done, we have done on the provider side or server side. So that is right side one we have done. This part we have done. And we have tested here only. We have not created the requester, client or consumer side. We have not created. So we have just created the web service and we have tested it here only, that it is working or not on the server side with the help of SOAP UI. So we should check how this client part look like, right? So what I'll do next is that I want to see how this client part work. So what I want next, this is an lab EMI calculation web service, server side. Okay, and the second part, I'm going to write service consumer. Okay, and the corresponding lab is same. EMI calculation web service client side, but it is a client side. So as you know that both system, but in this example, since we are doing in a single laptop, so we cannot create in two different system, but we can create two different project, right? We can create two different project. So that we will do the client side one, creating a separate project. Client side one we can create using a separate project. Fine. So what I'll do, that project you can create as a dynamic web project, code Java project, or some other project, whatever it is, right? So I'm writing the steps. First step, project, simple code Java project. I want it as a client. Fine. So next step 2. Now the thing is that when you have here one concept is there. I've not told you. The concept is called when you created the web service on the server side. So here lots of file is created, right? That is called server side artifact. That is called server side artifact. Okay. That server side artifact contain your WSDL file, and lots of file is created. If you see in your last example, see WSDT file, WSDL file, and if you find lots of file in between, see here deploy.wsdt, then you'll get some other jar file is also there inside this leaf folder. See, some extra jar files is there. So what are those things? These are called server side artifact. The server side artifact is created when you're creating the web service from the Java class, right? Okay. So here deployed create web service from Java class. This time server side artifact created. Control C, right? Because it contains the WSDL file, right? Then only you can access the web service, correct? Yeah. Now I'm talking about service consumer or client side. Now service consumer or client side, first I'm creating an code Java project, right? Okay. Next, after that, now the thing is that client can access a web service. He can access the web service when he will have that WSDL file. Already I told you, right? I can access on web service as a client. If I get the WSDL file, if I don't have access to the WSDL file, I cannot access any web service. So client should get the WSDL file from the server, right? So what you have to do here, copy WSDL file, copy WSDL file inside Java project. That means client got the WSDL file. Now client got the WSDL file. Now client can call the server side web service. So in here we have to do another one task here. In case of server side project, you have to create server side artifact. Here I have to create client side artifact. So we have to create here, create client side artifact. Now you'll say, what is the server side artifact and client side artifact? See, already I told you that web service communication internally, it's a communication between stub and skeleton. So whatever doing in the top level, but implicitly the communication is between stub and skeleton. So that stub and skeleton communication is being implemented with the help of server side artifact and client side artifact, right? So we have to create client side artifact in the, we have to create client side artifact in the project from WSDL file. We have to create client side artifact from WSDL file. Fine. Okay, next step, step 4. Now it is done. Now client should access that web service. So how client is going to, how you want client should access the web service? You can write a simple Java class, test client. So create test client to access the web service. That's it. Done. Right. So let's implement these steps one by one. Okay. So first create a code Java project. So I'll create a code Java project based on this. This is an EMI cal demo 1. So we can write EMI cal demo 1 client. Right. So right click, new Java project. So create one Java project. Right click, new, others. And if you go in the top, select Java project, move next. And inside this project name, you have to write here EMI cal and demo 1 client. That's it. EMI cal demo 1 client, right? Okay, move next, next, and then finish. So this is my EMI cal demo 1 client, right? Okay. So my client Java class already, this is done. Just simply copy from, it is there, right? This one, just copy this and paste it here. Paste. That's it. So client got the WSDL file, right? Now when client got WSDL file, then what I have to do? We have to create client side artifact from the WSDL file. Fine. So if you want to create client side artifact from the WSDL file, so what you have to do? New and go to others and go down. If you expand the web service, you'll find web service client here. See here, web service client. So if you select web service client and move next, right? Move next and then move next and next finished. Now when you're creating this web service client, right? So you'll find lots of things in the left side. Let's see here, lots of classes is created. So these classes are nothing but called client side artifact. Means some artifact means what? Some related classes. Client side artifact means what? Some related classes about the client. Server side artifact means what? Some related classes, related classes about the server. So it will be like this, right? Okay. Okay.
So this is part of like a stub or skeleton. What will be?
No, skeleton things I'm coming. Test client class, and that test client class is going to communicate with the web service. Fine. So create one test client.java, right click, new, and Java class, and class name is test client. It's a simple Java class, right? Okay. Done. Now you want that your test client .java file is going to interact with the web service. Fine. So now how it's going to interact with the web service using stub? That means this is a stub class. So I have to use the object of this class, right? I have to use the object of this class to communicate, to call that particular web service, right? So you can say right click refactor rename, control C. Fine. So you can get an object of this class, control V, stub equal to new, control V, like this. And using this stub, I'm going to call that function, right? Okay. So I'm not going to write once again, and just copy from some other location. Now here I'm just going to copy him. Now here we're creating an object of now here, if you see the first, I have remember this thing. First, I create an object of endpoint URL. It's an object, and this endpoint URL will contain the WSDL file location. So, what is the WSDL file location in our case? WSDL file location is this. So, can you? So, it will be available here. This is our WSDL file location. Control C. Control V. Okay. Now we're creating an object of service, and lots of things is written. I'll come into those things. And now I'm creating an object of stub. This is an object of stub. So right click, refactor, rename, control C. So I'm creating an object of stub. So control V. Now this is also control P, right? I'm creating an object of stub. So this is a stub. The stub that I'm talking about. Stub equal to new calculator. So binding a stub, it will take a parameter of endpoint URL and service. Then creating an object of the stub, I'm calling the actual function that is deployed in the server side. Right. So this calculator EMI is going to return the actual EMI, right? That I'm going to print. So this is what is simple Java class. Using this Java class, I'm going to access the web service that is deployed on the server side. Right now we can now here. So now multiple exception you have to handle. So I'll just copy paste it so that I don't have to do all those things. Fine. So this is the thing, a simple client. I'll find that is creating an object of org.apache.axis.client.service. I'm coming into those things. So what we find here is that you have created some Java class, and using those Java class, I can access a particular web service, and it should work. Let me check it's working or not. Save it. right click, run as Java application. See, it is working fine. So using a Java class, I can access an web service, and I can see the EMI that I have to pay for the loan, and it's working fine. It's working fine. Now lots of things is done in between. I'm coming into this, but what we understand from these two examples is that when you're creating the server side code, if we have to create server side artifact. When you're creating the client side code, we have to create client side artifact. These are some of the classes that comes under the category of client side artifact. That example just now we have executed in web service communication. Just now we have executed this web service communication where we have service requester and service provider. So this part is nothing but service provider part, and this part is the service requester part. Fine. Okay, so I want everyone to execute this one before starting to test your web service. Fine. Okay, so let's see. I'm just following this flow, so that flow will follow step by step. So we have done one lab here. So here what we have done is one lab we have done here, right? Okay. We have done one lab here. Fine. And this lab should be done by everyone. As an hands-on. Again, I'm saying I'll suggest everyone to do it because step by steps we'll move to more technicalities and lots of good labs you'll find, and based on our requirement, and we'll have to handle lots of complexity step by step, so it will increase. Fine. Okay. Now next I'm just moving with some more details. Whatever you have done discussion, that is just in the upper level. So let's move one step ahead. Fine. Okay. Types of web service based on communication. Okay, fine. Yeah. So just see here.